Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montes and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back together again, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a Oscar ranking, and we're getting closer to the end, guys. I'm super excited for that. And today we are doing Best Animated Feature Films. This is a category that I was kind of interested in because, when the Oscars comes out, most of the animated films that are nominated, I mostly have seen. So, this was kind of a big contender I was excited for. And most of them, I was kind of right with. There were some snubs like Ninja Turtles I wish could have gotten nominated. And there were also some surprises like Robot Dreams, which I never heard about, which you'll hear my thoughts on in this video. But with that said, let's go and get started reviewing Robot Dreams. Wait. Let's get started ranking all the Oscar animated nominations. Alright, so if you're wondering why I just skipped number 5, which is The Boy and the Heron, it's because I haven't seen it yet, and I can't really find it anywhere to see it. And I'm not going to waste money to go watch The Boy and the Heron unless I don't like it. So I have to wait until it comes out, but in last place for me, technically, is Nimona. Now, to be clear, I don't think any of these movies on this list are bad, but when it comes to this one, something had to come in last. And with Nimona, I think there's actually pretty, I think it is something that it's pretty cool, as it's like this futuristic type stuff, but it's in this like medieval world. Plus a couple of our 2 leads are pretty fun. There's a lot of fun action. And so it created a fun, unique film, but at the same time had some unique animation that feels different from like Spider-Verse or other films, and so it felt unique. The reason why it's in last place is because of all the films. I like the other movies that were nominated on this list much better. Now, when it comes to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I understand. A lot of you are going to be hating on me right now because how could you put Spider-Man above? How can you put Spider-Man at number 3? Like, even if you like The Boy and the Heron much more than this, how could you possibly do this? To be clear, I never said I didn't like Across the Spider-Verse. I love this movie. I do love it. There's lots of great things in this movie, whether, of course, like everybody else has been saying, the animation. To me, it's possibly one of the most unique things in cinema. I mean, if you thought Into the Spider-Verse was good with the animation, this movie just encapsulates. It is the perfect definition of what animation is. And then, but at the same time, you're also exploring a story with Spider-Man and laying all of this stuff out of what more that can Spider-Man be and how can you be Spider-Man. There's a lot of interesting stuff, while at the same time introducing us to a lot of new characters, showing us more of these stories, showing us more of the Spider People's worlds and all that stuff. And so it does a lot of great things. The big thing why it's at number 3 and it's not higher, and it's certainly not number 1, is because they introduce a lot of great characters, but we don't really get to spend a lot of time with them. We get introduced to Spider-Man India, then he's taken out, and we don't get to see him until he teams up with Gwen's new team at the end of the movie. We're introduced to Spider-Punk, and I'm like, at first I'm like, who is this guy? Like, why is everybody seeming to like him? And then you watch the movie, and you do end up liking him a little bit, even though I'm still not, like, sure as to what kind of Spider-Man, like, what he really represents. Because I really think of, like, punk Spider-Man as Gwen. And then, when it comes to, like, some of the main plot lines, even, like, with the whole canon events, it's an interesting plot line, but at the same time, it all doesn't really make sense sometimes, because it's like, they're talking about you need to lose a parent, but then you need to lose a police captain, but then Miles already lost an uncle, and he's gonna, so does he have to lose a dad? Does he have to lose another parent? Does he have to lose a police captain? but Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man didn't lose a police captain. Like, it's like so confusing. And then of course the big thing here, because the movie doesn't have a clear story. I mean it kind of does with all the characters that it's following. It doesn't really have the best ending. Granted, there's a lot of things that set up for Beyond the Spider-Verse that I'm very excited for, but at the same time, and I'm very excited that I hope Beyond the Spider-Verse is able to close out things in such a perfect and grand way. At the same time, I still love it. I still think as a piece of animation itself, I think it's great. And to be clear, I think that this might be the film that will win the Oscars this year for Best Animated Film. Because, I mean, sure, Puss in Boots got snubbed. But that's only because Pinocchio was better with stop motion. This is the perfect film for animation and what they were able to do. So, yeah. I think this is a great film, and I definitely think it's going to win next Sunday. And for me, yes, I like Elemental more than Across the Spider-Verse. And a big part of that is that, first off, it kind of accomplishes everything that I wanted for Elemental to be. Where you have basically the animation style of like Inside Out, but then you also have the world and so some of the characters of Zootopia. So combine Inside Out and Zootopia together, you get such a remarkable film where you have these fire people, and they were immigrated from their fireplace, and they immigrated to Element City, where air, earth, and water live in harmony. It's in many ways, it's almost like, you know, and I love that the director kind of translated his own story of being a Korean boy coming from Korea, and his family immigrated to New York, and he was born in New York. And in a way, that's what it feels like. It feels like, you know, immigrants moving to New York, and that somehow started the people when they moved to New York. And that's such an interesting story. But not only do you have an immigrant story in a very cool, interesting world, but you also have the story of a rom-com in the Pixar world, as you have fire and water falling in love. And our two leads, they're actually pretty likable, they're actually pretty funny, and all of them have these interesting motivations and what they want to do, where throughout her whole life, Ember doesn't really want to do what her dad wants her to do. She kind of never really had a chance to see what she wants to do. And then Wade, like, you can see of how hard he's really trying to get to her. And just throughout the entire film, it's such a clever, unique film, where it's like, because they can't be together because he'll burn her, but in any ways it relates to real life, because you can't really date between different cultures and races and colors and other stuff. And that's exactly how it was back in the day, and I love the way it really translated a lot to that. And so, yeah, it's like, obviously there's no sense of violence in the movie. Wade almost got, destroyed because of water. But, yeah, the movie's also, by the way, the movie's also gorgeous. It's very funny, it has a creative world, and it's great that we get an interesting world in the Pixar world, but also get a rom-com. I think that's great for Pixar. And so, yeah, my number one favorite film of the Oscar animated films that were nominated was Robot Dreams. And if you don't know what this film is, it's basically a film about a dog and a robot that basically become best friends. And I think what's so interesting about the film is the animation. It looks pretty good, and in a way this kind of reminded me of like a little bit of WALL-E, but also Shaun the Sheep, where it's sort of like a cartoon, but what's so great about it is that you don't need this movie doesn't really have a simple piece of dialogue to really tell the story. And I think that's kind of what is great about it, but that's also what makes it kind of difficult, because in other terms, you like the movies that can be so entertaining between relationships, but at the same time, it's great to pay attention to movies, like really pay attention to them. And with this one, it's like you see of how much the life has done, where it's like the robot gets left there, but he also creates all these different relationships with people. But you also see how the dog and the robot create a relationship together. Even with the 21st Night of September song, they love that song and they try to get back together, and it kind of doesn't work, but it's also kind of emotional. And so easily, this is my favorite film of the Oscar animated films. I don't know if it's going to win, considering it doesn't have a U.S. release date here in the U.S. But if you want to watch it, go look it up. I think it might be free somewhere. I don't know. But that is my thoughts on Robot Dreams, and that's my thoughts on the Oscar animated films. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.